This dog leg stinks, man. Okay, groomer, do something about it, man.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey, all you pet stylists. You found the GroomPod. Welcome to our virtual salon. My name is Susie, and I'm your host. I'm a mobile groomer from Seattle, Washington, and anyone who knows me will tell you I love to talk, especially about my job. One of my favorite people to talk to is my friend and mentor and co-star of the show, Miss Barbara Berg.
Hey, Susie, I am so psyched to be here and talk on the air with my friend Alex Elle.
It is very exciting. If you guys don't know Alex before now, you're going to know who she is after this show is over. So welcome to episode 413 of the GroomPod, recorded on May 19th, 2024 in Snohomish, Washington, briefly in Tucson, Arizona, and in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. This podcast is brought to you by our kind sponsors, Best Shot Show Season, Precision Sharp, Groomore, and Stasco. And you guys, if you'd like to support us, you can do so at our website, thegroompod.com, where you can find Barbara's donation button and the Patreon link to support the show. This week, it's all about Alex, and if we have time, we might talk a little bit about rinsing before conditioning, but I'm not sure yet, so we will find out. Hey, what's new this week is not what's new, but we still have Groomore software. If you haven't found Groomore, you're missing out. Groomore is an all-in-one software solution for your grooming business. Whether you are a solo mobile groomer or manage several shops, Groomore has everything you need. 24-hour online booking and forms, routing, credit card processing, reminders, Google Calendar and QuickBooks integration, and so much more. And the best customer service anywhere. Shop mobile or house call, Groomore has you covered. And they're giving us a free month. Just enter GroomPod22 in the coupon code. Let me tell you about Best Shot's newest addition to the Ultramax Pro line. Ultramax Hair Hold is a flexible hairspray that can be layered on for a stronger hold. Ultramax Hair Hold spray is great, but my favorite new product is called the Max, and I won't groom without it. It's a fragrance-free ultra-concentrate conditioner and detangler. It reduces drying time and handles undercoat and tangles like magic. Just a few drops in the final rinse or spray it on and dry it in. Contact your favorite Best Shot distributor or learn more online at bestshotpet.com. Grooming success begins with Best Shot in your tub. Made from the best stuff on earth. Ready, groomers? Here comes our first appointment. Okay, folks, we are going to just head right into our interview with Alex because she is so much fun to talk to, and I've only spent like a minute amount of time with her. But this is very cool. Alex, tell me about how you started grooming.
So I started grooming when I was newly 18. I had gotten introduced by one of my friends, and he was working as a groomer in like a well-known mom and pop shop in Minneapolis. And so I started there and I worked there for a few months and I was absolutely miserable and I hated it and I ended up leaving, and I was like, if this is what grooming is, then I never want to be a groomer. And so I ended up working at a pet store after that because I still wanted to work with animals, and I was going to school to become zoological vet. And I realized that the groomers who worked at this pet store were not miserable. So I was like, wait a second, that's not adding up to what my experience was. So I started asking more groomers about like what it was really like being a groomer, and they were like, it sounds like based off of your personality, you want to do more of the grooming and the haircuts instead of just being a bather, which absolutely checks out because, once I started actually doing haircuts, I became a lot more happy and fulfilled in my career. So I started at PetSmart in 2019, and then in 2020, I did Academy. And we were the last academy right before everything shut down with COVID. So after we opened back up, there wasn't really anything for me to do except to groom and go to work. So I really threw myself into it. And that's kind of how I started this crazy journey.
So you kind of apprenticed at first?
Not necessarily. I had gotten hired at other private salons, and none of them really ended up working out. I wanted to continue to build my skill, and every place that I kind of tried out didn't seem to line up with the direction that I wanted my career to go. So I just kind of hopped around from place to place until I found a place that I felt like I was getting good at my bread and butter grooms, but I knew I wanted to somehow learn how to groom show dogs. I actually remember one of the groomers who worked at the location of my academy, and she was like, I want to groom show dogs one day. And I was like, whoa, I wonder what that entails. And now I'm here. But yeah, I ended up reaching out on a Facebook group and was like, who can teach me or show me how to like groom bichons, and where can I get a bichon from? And every single person on this Facebook group for Minnesota groomers said my mentor's her name is Lynette, and she lives out in Stillwater, so that's a 45-minute drive from me. And yeah, one day in, what was that, 2022? Is that 2022? Yes, 2022. I just went out to her farm one day and gave her a deposit to be put on a list for potentially getting a puppy. And I just started grooming bichons, and I went out there every single week and on my days off and learned every week until she was like, you should come to a dog show to learn how to do this efficiently. And then I started showing dogs.
Oh my God.
Okay, tangent for a
Yes,
second.
please.
I know there's mobile groomers everywhere. Do you think it's like? Do you know any of the mobiles who groom up there in that weather in Minnesota? Geez, that must be a challenge.
Absolutely. And that was something we were actually just talking about at the salon that I work at now, because it's just like a brick and mortar shop. There aren't a lot of mobile groomers up here because of the weather and just because of how unrealistic it would be and how much people would have to charge to maintain their business that's on wheels. Because I worked on a really, really large dog last week that was really poorly taken care of, and her mobility was really bad, and we realized this was just not the facility for her to be serviced in. Our facility, she needs to either have a mobile unit come out to her, or she needs to be in a salon where everything is very close to itself and she doesn't have to move from like point A to point B. And we couldn't give the owner a recommendation for mobile because there aren't any mobiles that would take a dog that large around here.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It is really heartbreaking.
What are the breeds you see most of in your everyday shop?
We definitely see your everyday doodles a lot. We live in a very pet-friendly state, so yeah, it's a lot of doodles, or you'd be surprised how many purebreds we do actually get at my salon. So I do quite a few show coats. So I have a Catan show coat, a Havanese that has a show coat. We get a lot of hand strip dogs at my salon, which just like has not been my experience at the other salons that I've worked at. It's all been very much pet trims, cavapoos, and shave downs.
I love those pet trims on cavapoos. That's right up my alley.
For sure, yeah. And I'm over here, I'm like, give me the Eurasia blowout so I can maintain their coat. Let me do anything and everything that can push my skill to get better.
I really want to point out Alex's accomplishment, because she's saying that she first started learning to groom bichons in 2022 and getting involved in the showing. And this year, she went to the bichon specialty. That's where all the best bichons of the country get together. It's not Westminster, but close to it. It's bichon breeders, it's bichon judges, it's bichon breeders, judges, handlers, all of that. It's the big time. And she went best of breed and best owner handler for the show. That's amazing. That's just unreal. Oh, gosh.
Round of applause there for you, Alex.
You must be spinning out. You know, like, whoa.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience because I have been doing this for such a short amount of time. Like
Yeah.
everyone's like, this is a really big deal, and this is only my second specialty I've ever been to. So to me, I'm like, this is just what happens every other specialty, right? And that's just not the case. So I feel very fortunate to have gotten as far as I have in such a short amount of time, but also to say that the team of people who have surrounded me have not worked so hard for so many hours to get me to where me and my dog are today.
Oh,
Definitely don't want to undercut that.
I watched the little video that shows you like winning in the bichon ring at the
Yeah.
specialty. And my goodness, girl, you just glide around the ring. You're just on air. And that little dog just chugging with you. Your stride, your gait, your ability to float beside the dog was just amazing. Because I know I've hobbled around the ring a few times. I know that energy, and I don't think I ever was able to get that smooth a walking fast thing going. I mean, and
That's
you,
better.
it's clear that you've worked on that.
Yeah, I literally call it the dumb little bichon run that I have to do because it's like a weird long glide slash running slash walking, but you want to go fast, but you want to extend your legs so that your dog then extends their legs. I learned all of this stuff. My mentor, she, in the summertime when like the weather provides it, because she lives out on a farm, she invites anybody who wants to come out and practice showing their dog to what she
Oh,
calls class. She has a blacktop in front of her salon slash house, and we just spend an hour and a half all going around doing a fake dog show, and we all watch each other, and she tells me exactly what it is that I need to do. She's like, you're holding the leash too high, you're choking him, trust him that he's gonna go at the speed that he needs to, or you're trying to go fast but you're shortening your stride, which is making him skitter and not actually have a gait. It's stuff like that that she's able to point out because she's been doing this for 30 something years, and I'm able to do with a fresh perspective that I think really helps make Suess and I be a really good team. Plus, he's also just such a good little dog. He's my first dog I've ever had, and I could not ask for a better dog.
I can see it in your pictures.
Yeah.
Because I love Bichons, but he's really, not only is he just showy, but he's just a hell of a guy. You can
Yeah.
tell, and he's so willing to party, to do what you want to do. Okay, well, we'll do this game. We'll do the dog show thing. It's absolutely amazing that you were able to learn that fast. I really acknowledge your mentor, and she must be so proud of you.
Yeah, when we won, she had tears in her eyes, and I got a hug from her, and I got a hug from Tammy, who's also another less hands-on but hands-on mentor. And yeah, it felt really good to make them proud of my accomplishment, but also see that their hard work and their trust and their faith in me, this random girl who wandered into their salon almost a little over 2 years ago and was just, hey, can I practice grooming your bichons? And they just kind of took a chance and they were like, sure. And now we're here.
And Alex, I wouldn't feel right if I didn't mention that you're a black girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did that figure into your grooming and into your show experiences?
So, when I first started grooming, I realized that there was a really big disconnect between what it seemed like the animal care industry and also the black community or communities of color just in general. And I understood that there, especially in this day and age, there's a sense of otherness that automatically makes people not trust other people who they assume are not like them, which I completely understand. And people have experiences and traumas that prove that to be true, and they're able to act out on their own beliefs and experiences. Great. But I think that it only does disservice to both communities because we're talking past each other and not collaborating with each other to create the best form of care for the animals that we all want to see succeed. Because even though I'm Black, I am mixed and I'm also very light skinned, and so like I understand that there's privilege that comes with that, and I understood that it is easier for me to go into environments where people of color may be uncomfortable, especially people who are darker than me, and get information that isn't readily available to them for XYZ reasons, and be able to share that information to people who want it or need it, to be able to do the best by their animals. And I've done that not only through showing, but even before showing, going to clinics at Indigenous people reservations and doing free nail trims and brush outs on dogs and helping people understand like cleaning your dog's ears are important. Things like that to just help extend that education that I have, that I'm so privileged to have, onto communities that aren't necessarily able to access it. And that was a frustration that I had with the show world, because I want to learn how to do bichons, but it kind of felt like dog shows were being gate kept in a way, but I wasn't quite sure how, because I was just, there's like no access to this world, and I'm a groomer. I'm someone who literally works with dogs, and I'm not even able to get access to this world. How are people who are not that connected like I am supposed to get access to responsibly bred dogs and being able to be responsible pet owners and informed? And so that's why I posted on the Facebook group. I was like, if I don't know how, someone out here knows how. Who can teach me how to do show bichons? Like I said, they all said Lynette's name, and I had no idea what I was going to go out and who I was going to go out and meet. I just knew that she was some woman out in Stillwater. And Stillwater isn't the boonies, but it's definitely more rural than my suburban / metropolitan area. And it has definitely been a interesting experience, but a great experience at that. Because I think I also have tough skin, that I know sometimes I stick out like a sore thumb, and I know sometimes I ruffle people's feathers, but that's not what I'm there to focus on. I'm there to focus on how I can get better and how I can make other people around me better who want to get better. And if I can provide that information by putting myself in environments that I'm not saying aren't welcoming, because I've personally felt pretty welcomed, but aren't necessarily the most open or free-willing to, I don't know, give their information out, I'm more than willing to elbow my way in there and get what it is that I need to get. And my mentor seems like she really enjoys that about me, and it's funny because her and I are very, very opposite people. We have a lot of personal fundamental beliefs that might not be on the same page, and just the different lifestyles that we live, but we have a great amount of respect for each other and the work that we do. And I have respect for the expertise that she has and the experience that she has, and she understands that I'm just a sponge who wants to do good by dogs and just wants to like further the goodness that she can provide through me to others. So that's been a really great relationship that I've been able to develop in a world where it seems really hard to develop relationships with people who are very opposite from you in a safe way.
Speaking of disconnection, my experience as a groomer was that there was a disconnection between the show grooming world and the pet grooming world.
Yeah.
And that the show grooming world scoffed at the pet grooming world and then withheld their secrets. One of the things that happened to me is I used to go to the local dog shows all the time, and kind of walk around and talk to people who had finished their breed and stuff like that, so they were relaxed. I found a pen of Scotties and some people sitting around it that were obviously the Scotty clan. And went over there, and I was looking at the dogs and noticing how the ears were done, and it wasn't exactly how I was doing them. And I'm thinking, oh, I need to correct this. And so I spoke to one of the women right there, who turned out to be a local groomer who specialized in terriers that was way on the other end of town. And I said, I'm looking at the ears here, and it looks like you've cleaned out the backside of them really totally. And am I wrong? And she said, do you think for a minute I'm going to share what I know with you as a competitor? I said, I'm not going to tell my competition what I'm doing. Like, fuck.
You're right.
What the? You know, not only did she just like shut the door, she slammed it in my face and kind of shamed me that I would even think of asking. Fortunately, I've had a lot of other experiences at the dog show that kind of overrode that moment, but that's like, what the heck, you know? And then you go, and as a groomer, you try to talk to show people about what you're doing, and they just think that you're a cookie cutter pet groomer, you know. So the way that I got my bichon, I got a private bichon lesson from a bichon handler who was top level, and I just hung out, and I got to know his assistant over a couple of days, and then I brought my own dog to the dog show and said, would you critique my grooming? And he got the handler over there. He gave me an hour of point by point.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the most incredible moment of my learning. It made such a huge difference in how I understood the grooming of the breed. And it was a gift. It was absolutely a gift. That's rare. There's just a little bit of distance there that seems to be manifested from the show side. Then the pet grooming side is sort of like, well, I don't have the time to mess with show grooming.
Right.
We want volume. We got to get 8 dogs a day out of here, out of you.
I went to the dog show once. I've only been once. I went to see if I could find some connections for a client who was looking for a decent puppy or young adult. And I didn't know the rhythm of the show very well, but I could tell where the grooming areas were, and I tried to go back and talk to people, and nobody wanted to talk to me, and I know that it was probably somewhat of a timing thing, but even after the show, everybody just wanted to leave, and nobody would even give me their phone number or tell me their kennel or anything. I just found it a really inhospitable, and I'm white as can be. You know, and I look like a groomer. And I did not get any action at the dog show.
That's funny that you say that, because you say you look like a groomer and you look like you belong there. And I've had people come to my shop and be referred to me to groom their bichon, and I come out and I'm like, hi, how can I help you? And they're like, oh, I'm looking for Alex. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. And I can tell that they are not expecting a pierced, bald, black woman with tattoos. And I'm just like, yup, I'm your bichon groomer. And I've noticed that quite a bit. Or I'll be at a show and people from the public will come up to our setup and they see all these bichons and they want to talk to the people who obviously are in charge of these little fluffy white dogs, but no one will say a word to me. And I don't take it offensively. I just kind of mind my own business. And people will come up to me and ask me questions when they feel comfortable. And if they feel comfortable and if they don't want to know the knowledge that I have, then that's on them. That's totally fine. Whatever. But also when people are automatically so hostile, not like, I feel like I have been told that sometimes I look hostile because my focus face looks very angry. And then also, like I said, bald, loud black woman at a dog show with stretched ears, and I kind of stick out, and people are like, ooh, let's not talk to her. But I'm the one who will chat your ear off and tell you should come to a dog show and give you all the resources on how to get started in this stuff. Because people complain all the time that dog showing is a dying sport. It's a dying sport, but then stuff like what happened to Barbara will happen. Yeah, because we're not making it a welcoming environment to people that we don't deem worthy of having the information passed on to them. And that's such like gatekeeping bullshit, and I'm just not here for it.
So, have you seen any other black women in the ring?
Yeah, I hate to say there was one, but there was one black woman at the specialty this past year, so that was really cool to see. But it's really not necessarily about who is participatory right now, but more of where the dog show world is going and how we can change the stigma from it being a hostile, very white conservative, like gate kept hobby to something that people can enjoy if you have your heart and mind in the right place. Because at the end of the day, we're walking a dog in a ring and feeding them treats and getting a ribbon that costs maximum $30. Come on now.
And you can't resell it.
Right, yeah, literally, so, like, it has the date and everything on it. Okay. And it's not like that woman with the Scotties telling you about how she groomed the back of that dog's ears was literally going to put her kennel under and put her out of business. That's insane.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm all about the free information, free love, very much about that in this community.
Along those lines, what's your plan for the future?
Well, it really depends on how well we do this upcoming show cycle. I guess we are going to be going to the AKC Owner Handled National Championship in Orlando in December. And depending on where we, and then depending on where we land on like the regular point board, we very well could just be competing in the regular championship and not just owner handled. And then, like Barbara had said, this was the specialty, but my mentor had explained to me, so there were 2 days that had a specialty on it, which this is the first time that the Bichon Club has done that since the year after COVID, because they needed to do 2 specialties to make it up. But they had the regular Bichon Frise Club of America national specialty, and then the next day they had the Bichon Frise Club of America parent specialty, which is still a national specialty, I think. So depending on that, and we're going to find some clarification out, we're trying to figure out whether or not we qualified for Westminster for next year.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah. But other than that, just grooming dogs.
Do you have any desire to teach, or do you have any desire to do any grooming competitions?
Yeah, I want to do a grooming competition this year. Hopefully, I was going to do one last year, but I ended up having a wrist surgery on my dominant hand, which really took me out. So I want to do one grooming competition just to see like what my finishing skills are like, because even though I groom Bichons, some people just have a natural knack for that really flawless finishing work that gets really heavily rewarded in the competition grooming ring, which I'm totally fine with. And if I don't have that, cool. I want Olga or Pina or somebody to just tell me that and be like, yeah, that's just not for you. And I'll be like, great, thank you so much for letting me know. I'll focus on other things. But I just want to see if there's a way for me to improve that. And get that experience, because I have competed once before, which is why my dog ended up living with me in the first place, and then he ended up just becoming my dog. And then hopefully long term, I kind of want to do what my mentor does. Whether people pay me or not, I want people to be able to see me as a resource for information for them to be able to better take care of their animal. Like animal welfare and well-being in general is just something that I'm very passionate about in life. And because that's so universally important to me, it goes back to that whole entire keeping of information. I feel that's such classist, discriminatory, gatekeepy bullshit that really has no rhyme or reason to it, because we all love our animals the same way. That if I have that information, it's going to benefit someone, it's going to benefit an animal's well-being, let me be that tool for that person. It's like that fur family, I guess. So teaching people if they need to learn how to groom their own dog sounds great. Like if their dogs are too aggressive, and like teaching them how to do it at home so that their dog can live out a happier life and not be so distressed with grooming, that sounds great. Teaching people how to get the fundamentals of grooming. I've had people reach out to me already about, how do I make this face rounder? And I'm like, are you sure you feel like I'm qualified to tell you that? When I literally groom Bichon faces. Yeah. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I can give you a number and a reference to somebody else.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of teaching of pet owners to groom their own dogs. That's just another thing that's kind of scoffed at in the
Yeah.
grooming world. Like
Yes.
you're giving away business. Well, no. Every time I've done that, I've either gotten the dogs back 3 months later, and they had a garage sale, or
Right.
uh, or their friends came, and it was never a waste of time. I always charged modestly for it, and because you have to put a value on it, or they don't pay attention.
Yeah.
And I just think you're so on the right track, and I want to become your biggest fan and supporter
Aw.
because I think you are a very all round special person in our industry, and it's not just because of any one thing, but the combination of all the things you are, Alex. And we haven't told our audience that Alex has a beautiful smile.
Oh, stop. Oh my God.
When she smiles at you, it's just like your world lights up. I know that you don't go around grinning at the dog show. They don't see that as much. And you're focused and you're thinking about your job. And I think your resting bitch face is fine. But but your smile is amazing, and I'm sure it's worked for you. I'm sure it's part of what has broken down the gate, because you're so obviously open and trying. It's just really, I just love you to death.
One of my show like colleagues had told me that her family had come to a show one time and like had pointed me out and was like, she looks a little intense, and she literally laughed and was like, who, Alex? Like, she's the biggest goofball ever. I'm like, yeah. Just come up and talk to me and get me laughing. I'm not intimidating at all. I'm here to talk your ear off and be friends.
Why did you cut all your hair off?
Why did I cut off all my hair?
Yeah.
Oh, I cut it off back in 2018 because it was hot and heavy, and now I love how easy it is, and it's a statement, and yeah, I don't know. I think it looks good on me. I have a really nicely shaped head.
You've got bone structure to die for.
Thank you. Wow. I'll tell my parents that they did a good job at developing my bone structure properly.
Ooh, yeah, thank them for me.
I was actually just messaged my tattoo artist, and I'm gonna get a head tattoo really soon, and I have to postpone it because I have some vet bills coming up, but I think that that'll be fun, showing up to the AKC National Championship with a tattoo on the back of my head showing my fancy little bichon.
I have one behind my ear right now.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
The one behind your ear? No, I think you had your hair down when I met you.
I didn't have it when you met me.
Oh, well, what?
It's new.
Oh, okay.
I got 2 tattoos for my 84th birthday.
I love that for you.
One is a little paw print in my left ear, and the other one is behind my right ear, and it says, fuck it.
I love that. I love that so much.
I thought you might.
Yeah. That's amazing.
What 84-year-old has that going?
Might as well.
Might as well. You gotta say that a lot when you're old because it's hard. It's hard, so fuck it. You can't dwell.
For sure.
So we want to stay in touch. I want groomers to know of your journey and to follow your footsteps. Not necessarily in the show ring, but where your imagination takes you. I kind of got my first inspiration for grooming from the dog show. because my mother and I were showing Lhasa Apsos
Oh, okay.
when I was in my 20s, and we did this together. And she was the groomer,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the ring person
Mm-hmm.
because I liked that part. But I spent hours at the dog shows going around looking at the breeds and, of course, watching the breeds being shown and the groups. And I just loved the level of grooming and appearance enhancement that went on. And I loved knowing what they looked like. I just was visually stimulated by that.
Yeah.
And that's what formed the core of my wanting to do correct breed profiles, and how I made that the backbone of my salon work, my shop.
Yeah.
And it's how I stood out amongst the others. I'm sure that your shop where you're working now is the same. I do say, if you want to do that kind of work, you will get a clientele.
Mm-hmm.
It might take a little bit longer for the word of mouth to get out there that you know your shit. One of my most fun part as a groomer was taking on a new breed.
Yes, yeah.
I got to learn how to present Glenavy Malt Terriers.
Yeah.
Just fell in my lap. And then I got to learn how to prepare Lagoto.
I was just gonna say, I just had one of them referred to me that's a show dog, and I'm like, never in my life did I think I would be grooming this type of dog, but here I am, and I'm here to learn.
Hey, round head.
Yup, round head. I scissor pretty much everything before we do the bath, and I let them air dry.
Yep, that's exactly what I do. But here's the funny thing. I don't really like grooming the breed. I like doing the profile.
They're a little nutty.
They don't like grooming. Like bichons will just like meditate.
No, yeah, my boy just like lays there.
Yeah, but these dogs don't really like being handled
No,
that restrictively. They want to run around.
they want to do their own thing.
They can be rather jerks on the grooming table.
Absolutely.
So I made myself the Tucson Lagoto expert, and
Good for you, Barbara. Don't you feel so blessed?
The Lagoto go-to.
I had to move away to get away from it.
Right, yeah. No, I always say that about my grooming journey. I've literally been only cutting dog hair for 4 years. I do not know everything, nor do I attempt to or act like I do. But if someone brings me a dog that's different than a dog that I've worked on, they want something different, I'm there to listen and learn and try my very best and go forward and work with that owner so that they are getting exactly what it is that they want, even if it's not something specific like, oh, well, I know that it needs to look like this and this and this. If they're like, I want a Wheaton cut, a show Wheaton cut, I'm like, okay, well, I don't really know how to do that, but I can pull something off, and going forward, you can tell me what you didn't like about the haircut, and I'll continue to study the haircut, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle, and it'll just continue to get better and better.
Yeah, I love doing the real deal Wheaton Terrier.
I'm the crazy groomer who likes Wheatons. Yeah. Don't tell Scott Weiserman, because he's like, anyone who likes Wheatons is wild, and I'm like,
no.
They're one of my favorite terriers. They're so funny.
They have the best personality.
They're really goofy.
I had a love affair with a Wheaton Terrier.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I had a breakup with his dad.
Yeah, that's tough.
I know love. I know that connection. That dog loved me. I just love working on a new breed and another breed. And it's what's kept me going for so long. And the bichon grooming is a terrific starting place because you learn how to sculpt.
Yes.
And that's a huge difference between show grooming and pet grooming.
Absolutely.
Sculpting. And
I've realized that I can do hand scissored legs much more fast than I can make a 5 shave down on a leg look good. Just because of how quick I've gotten with my proportions and what's supposed to look good and what I need to do to even
Right.
things out. And especially if it's on a pet dog, I know I have to be less precise than on a bichon. So I'm like, that's easy. Where it would take me 2 hours to do a doodle that does a 5 shave down, I could do a 5 on the body and hand scissored legs and be done in an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
But I'm not that fast a scissorer, but
That's
it
fair.
sounds like you've got scissor efficiency going. And that's a terrific skill to have.
It was that wrist surgery I had last year. They must have put an extra spring in there or something.
Okay, well, Susie, that's about it from me. You got any other questions?
It's an honor and a pleasure to meet you, and I also look forward to see where you're going because I think it's going to be somewhere great.
I really hope so. I think that if I just continue to put one foot in front of the other and do what I see is the right thing, and just like keep the big picture in mind, I think wherever the universe takes me, it'll be something fortuitous for me in the long run.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here, Alex, and we hope to see
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Yeah.
Okay, we'll let Alex go. Barbara?
Cute.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, Alex.
Thanks,
All right.
Barbara. It was really nice talking to you guys. Have a good rest of your Sunday.
Okay. Show Season has a great enzymatic cleaner called Kennel Fresh. And you dilute it with warm water and it smells good, and then it evaporates to be a deodorant. As the Kennel Fresh dries, it's enzymatic, it eats the bacteria and the odor source. So it's really good stuff. You can use it indoors or out. Find it at your local distributors or showseasongrooming.com.
We want to welcome Randy and Cheryl Lowe from Precision Sharp and invite you to check out their website where you can see their newest precise cut shear called Lynx. It's a patented design featuring a thumb ring that slides the length of the handle for perfect ergonomic placement of your thumb. Slide it and lock it into position to get your best groom on. Check it out at precisionsharp.com. Okay, bye.